Hello, this is a tutorial and we're going to learn how to do an interior render. As you have probably noticed that when you try to render an interior and you have several windows, for example, and you only have a spotlight outside, hoping for that to illuminate the whole interior, it doesn't happen. It creates an image that is quite dark. It only has some light coming in, and you don't have that light bouncing. So we're gonna use global illumination to solve this issue. So okay, let's start with the piston component here at the top, and it was a NURBS surface, and we're gonna pretty much convert it into let's say modify, convert into NURBS polygon options. And I have this arrangement. I like normally to have it in count, which is pretty much how many mesh components you want, and in quads, which is pretty much it's going to do it in rectangles, pieces. Other sources or other ways of converting NURBS to polygons are sometimes better, depending on the model you have. So you should try different options in different times. So I'm going to say tessellate. And if I press W and then move this guy out, it's pretty much the difference between what a NURBS polygons or the difference between NURBS and polygons is, as you can see, is quite notable, or it's quite obvious, no? So okay, I'm gonna just delete the NURBS, and I'm gonna combine. As you can see, they're all different pieces, each of them. So I'm gonna just go to polygons here and say mesh combined, so we have one, and there's all this history of NURBS. Sometimes I just select them all and say Control G to group them, so they're in a group, and kind of put it on the top here and forget about it a little bit. I'm gonna only work with a poly surface, or the polygon surface here. Okay, so next step is I want to select some faces, and I want to select them with a paintbrush. Right click, face, paintbrush selection, and just I'm gonna select some of these guys and pretty much delete. Let me just make sure that I only select from the top. I think it's right. Select paintbrush selection, and just some of them from the top. So it's a skylight, a continuous skylight kind of a feature, and I'm gonna go to the front view here. Expand it and expand it and get closer, Q, and now I'm gonna right click object mode, select the object, and I'm gonna shift right click and say insert edge loop. As we have done millions of times, you can insert edge loops quite easily here. Like for example, let me expand the perspective so you can see what I have done. I have inserted an edge loop here by pressing between these two lines in the mesh. So now I'm going to go to Q and right click. I want to select some faces that are in a specific area here, because I want like a strip of type of window, and I'm going to delete these faces, and you will see in the perspective what I have done. I did like this with the paintbrush, and I select and I delete them, and here as you can see, deleted the stripe. So I'm going to have like a very horizontal type of window that I'm interested in. Now all this doesn't have any thickness, so step is the one we have done millions of times as well. Select all the faces. So first you have to be in faces, and after that we need to make sure that keep faces together is checked, and say extrude. And I'm gonna just pull out a little bit of extrusion so we have some thickness. Okay. I'm not gonna deselect here because I will lose my extrusion toggle here, or a gizmo, and I'm gonna get in, just make sure that I'm happy with the result of what I have. And I think it's fine. I think it's quite interesting shot. So okay, I'm gonna right click and select object mode. So I have my new piece with thickness. That will be walls, etc. And I'm just gonna create a new camera first, perspective new. I've done this for animation, so you should know. And immediately in the outliner, if you go to display outliner, sorry, window outliner, be careful if you press the outliner here in the shortcut, you jump out of the new camera that you have created and you go to perspective. So here it is, the new camera that we have created. Good. we are inside. So I'm going to just try to uh, navigate in the interior until I find a nice shot that I want to render. As you know, we can be inside of the camera and change by Control A and going to the channel box. We can go, let me make sure that I select the camera. There we go. We can go and change the aperture of the film in different ways. There's more, that's better or worse. Then if we press here, we're going to be able to also change a little bit of the focal length and the ratio. Let me see if I see it. We have to press this guy just here. Sorry. And by changing the squeeze ratio, we're going to be able to change that. Now, before doing this, I probably want to make sure that the settings are correct, because this relates to a resolution that we don't want for now. So I'm going to change the settings for rendering, and I'm going to go to Mentor-A. I'm going to go to Quality. It's going to take a while. And in Quality, as we have done thousands of times, we're going to select Production Mode. Let's see if the machine wants to continue. There we go, Production Mode. We're not going to do anything in direct lighting, but we will do it afterwards. We're going to go to Common and make sure that we are in 720. Now, once again, if you're in high resolution, you should go to higher numbers, so 720. And close. As you can see, the frame has changed, and we can change again the squeeze ratio so we fit it correctly. There we go. You should save by this point what you have here. But I think it's nice. Let me place myself even more in an interesting position. Good. We have a window here and a top window. What I like to do is I save a bookmark, so we save that view, specific view, say new bookmark, apply and close. You can name it, of course, and now wherever we are, we can always come back to this specific view. Next step is two things: assigning material and obviously preparing the light. I'm going to use the spotlight. I'm going to take it up here, scale it so I can see it, move it up, put it here, and I'm going to just rotate it a little bit so that's a specific angle. And see, yeah, within the properties of the light, we can always scroll and go to the Add Editor and expand this, and in Light Shape 1 we should change, if you want some of the issues going on here. I'm gonna scale a little more to make sure. Remember that you can see how the light is affecting your object. You can even go to see the shadows, and in high definition, which in my computer doesn't happen, you will see in a more accurate way how the shadows interact. So the things to selecting the light we want to change is I'm going to increase the cones to make sure that we're inside, and just a little bit of penumbra, and turn on the shadows. Use that shadows and increase resolution a bit. And I like to put this like in 2 or even 3 to have certain type of diffuse character in the shadow, and take this up to 45 or so. And great. Next is selecting a material, of course. We're going to go to Window, Rendering Editor, and I preset. Another thing that's going to take a while. And I'm going to create my Mentor-A and my Material X, and I'm going to assign it to my object. If I select this, as you can see, I'm selecting the light, so I'm just going to say Control and select to deselect it. Right click, assign material to selection, and perfect. Now I can select the material and change the preset to I don't know, let's say a glossy plastic. Replace. Just gonna make sure that the color is white, and that's fine. For now, I'm gonna leave it like that. I can always change it afterwards if I want. And close that. And I'm gonna do my first rendering. I'm gonna go View, Bookmarks, and Camera View. Remember, it's the view goes directly. and I'm gonna render this and pause it. Okay, so this is what we get. First thing we notice is that the background is black, and that's very easy to change. We should go to the camera, select the camera, and change the environment. I'm gonna do that and render again, and I'll stop there and go for the global illumination techniques. But you're gonna start seeing the problem. I'll talk about that right now. That these areas are gonna be too dark. We need to apply another type of lighting source, which is gonna be the global illumination. So I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna go to the outliner, select the camera, sorry, perspective 1, and here in environment under perspective shape, which is the camera shape environment, I'm gonna press this in white and changes the background, and I'm gonna render again and pause it, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so this is what we get. As you can see now, the background is white, and we see perfectly the windows and the connections, and it has more reflection attitude, but still we have the main concern, which is we're not getting light to certain areas that are too dark. So this is going to be the common problem or a common issue in interior rendering. So we need to apply what's called global illumination. I'll explain that in the next little tutorial. So I'll stop this one here.